Hey, hi all. Good morning. So,
Good morning.
so in our previous class, we have discussed about uh, role hierarchy and what a role is all about, why we need the role hierarchy, and all these details we have discussed. And then we have also configured few roles in our organization. Okay, so role hierarchy is important for in terms of security, just because the records created by uh, a person A will be only visible to his manager and not his subordinates. Okay, so that is what we want. We usually create a role hierarchy in an organization once, but and roles can be created, and a single role can be assigned to multiple users. Okay. And all the roles information will be resides in user role object. So yes, so how to create roles we have already discussed, and we created few roles. So this was the assignment which we did. So based on this, we are going to do the next topics. That's the reason I was doing a recap. Okay, so and next we talked about organizational wide defaults or the sharing settings. So these are the default level of access of the record inside an organization. And these organizational wide settings are on the object level. So when a user creates a record inside the object, so we should be giving a default settings like to whom it should be visible. So we can decide that using the organization wide defaults, and these are applicable at object level, and it's applicable for all the users within the organization. That's why we call it as OWD, organization-wide defaults. And these are the below OWD options. So 9 OWD options, and we will private, public read-only, public read-write, public read-write transfer, public full access, no access, use, view-only, controlled by parent. So these are the 9 OWD options available, and we will be discussing in detail about each one of them. So, and then so to which objects each option is applicable, we have already discussed, right? So private, public read only, public read write will be for all standard and all custom objects except one standard object, price book. Read write transfer is for lead and case objects. Full access is for campaign. No access, use, and view only is for price book object, and controlled by parent is for child objects which are under master detail relationship. Okay, and then we have already had a demo of how this read OWDs can be set. So let's go to our org. So here, go to our setup for our application, and here we have to type sharing settings on the quick find box. Click on sharing settings, and this is where you find all your organizational wide defaults. So if we want to edit, we can do edit it So under sharing settings, we have something called organization wide default, and these are the permissions. Okay, so the default permissions are given, and here if you see there is something called default external access. This will be used in case of integration, like we are integrating our Salesforce with any other tools. Okay, so or any other externally available portals. Okay, maybe a web portal, maybe a SharePoint, maybe a WordPress, or any other tools, maybe a ServiceNow, Zira, Adobe, whatever tools you want to use. You are going to integrate your Salesforce or with them. Probably in that case, this external default external access settings will be applicable. Okay, so if we want to change any one of these settings, yes, you can do, but this will be applicable for the entire org, for all the users present across the org. So now what I'm going to do is, yeah, before doing this, what I'll do is, so now, yeah, we will see how our records are visible to each users. Okay, so I am See now, my profile is the system administrator and I am the owner, CEO of this. So let's go ahead, and what we'll do is we will go to our application. So here under accounts, so what I'll do, I'll create a new account and I will see whether the development user who is my subordinate, is he able to view my records. Okay. So that we are going to do a demo. So let me go and create a new account. Account demo, let me see. And I'll give rating hot. Yeah, all these details are not needed because we are not going to. Okay, so let me save. The account name is account demo. Okay, so this is my account which I have created. Hey, sorry for this. This I was doing demo for Lightning components. Yeah. Uh, so this is my account which I have created now. And let's see now I'm logged in as CEO, my user. So let me log in as a development user. So let's go to users. Now I have logged in as logged in as development user. You can see this, right? Okay. So now let me in the accounts, let me see all accounts. So whether I'm able to see my account demo. Yes. So actually, in our org hierarchy, roles hierarchy, so I was the CEO, and under me, I have created this development user. So, but still, the development user was able to see my account records. Okay. So now what we are going to do is, I'm closing this. So now what we are going to do is we are going to go to here on the application and go to setup. So I'm going to change my OWD settings now so that it follows a role hierarchy, and based on the settings which we give object level access which we mention on the OWD, it's going to follow that. Okay, so I'm on the, okay, we have to log out. Okay, so I'm on my account. Let me go to my setup, and here I need to change the settings. So it's sharing settings, and under that OWD. right? So I'm going to edit. So account record, it's public read write, it is mentioned. Okay. So I'm going to change this as private and see whether my subordinates are able to view my records or not. So it's giving us a confirmation dialog box. Opportunity access must be private when account access is set to private. Okay. So we need to change reason being case also, because these are related, these are connected using a lookup relation. So they have relationship between them. So I'm making opportunity as private and case as private. It has already taken. Okay. So we marked our account, case and opportunity as private, and I'm going to save it. Again, all sharing rules must be recalculated based on the new default, which may require significant time. The original will be displayed until the operation completes. So it is going to take some time, but I'm sure it's not less than a minute. See, one or more sharing options has been initiated. Okay, so if we refresh, see, it's still read write. Okay, if you see, and if you see the case, also it's still the old one. Opportunity also it's still the old one. So I'm going to refresh. I'm sure it should be getting applied now. Right, yes. Account is private, case is private, opportunity is private. Yeah. So our organization-wide defaults has been applied now. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh my application page, and I would be creating a record and see whether it is applicable, whether it is visible to my subordinates. Okay. So let me create an account view demo, something like that. And I'm giving code. Yeah, I am not going to give any other details. So my account record has been created, account view demo. Okay. So let me go to setup, users, and now I will be logging in as a development user. Okay. So let's go ahead and log in as development user. Okay. See, we are still able to see account view demo. The reason being we haven't set our roles perfectly on it. But if you create a role like CEO and under him some vice president. So if I am logging in as vice president, probably that vice president will not be able to view the account records which are created by the CEO. Okay. So it happens just because I am running short of my email IDs. I haven't set up so many accounts here, but I have created the users with dummy email IDs. So actually, we using a single email ID, you can create multiple users. Only thing is you will have to make sure the username is different. Okay. So that's the reason we are able to see, still we are able to see the records. Okay. And in this also, if you are like, when you have to log out and log in as the org user. So what I would suggest you is to create multiple roles, not like this, maybe a different way. Uh, Project manager, team leader, and team member, something like that. You create three roles, and it should be like one below the other, and the role should be assigned one below the other. Assign those roles to the users, create users, assign those roles to the users. The users can be like any name, your names also. Okay. So keep your colleagues or friends names as create users for them. You can use one single email ID only. I forgot, right? 1 second. So this is an assignment for the weekend. Of course, I'm not making a note of it, but you can create users. Okay, I will send it in the WhatsApp again. Okay. So what it is like, you are doing more hands-on on roles, users, and role hierarchy, and then sharing as well. Okay. So the private, the old OWD settings also we are doing. So all these topics we can, do a hands-on. So while creating user, I missed to say one thing, that is like, see, you can use the same email ID for creating multiple users, but you make sure that the username is different. The username should be in the email format, but it can be anything. Okay. So that is the one thing you have to do. So create multiple, like 3 to 4 users by yourself, and then it should create role hierarchy for them. And then we are going to test. Then you will be testing the sharing OWD settings. Okay. So when we made changes to OWD settings, the account as private. So the project manager records will not be visible to his subordinates. So the project manager, whenever he creates a record, it will not be visible to team leader. Okay. And yeah. So team member, whenever he creates a record, it will be visible to team leader. Okay. Only his next level reporting, the manager, but not the project manager. Right. So that is the default way of viewing the records as per our OWD settings. But now to override that, what we will be doing is we have a concept called sharing mechanism, which I'm going to do a demo for you now. Okay. So go ahead and do this. And let's go to our, okay. So here we have made the account object, and then we mark the OWD as private. So in this case, when we mark the OWD as private, the your records will not be visible to anyone except your uh, yourself. Okay. So in order to overcome that, we are going to use some mechanisms, some sharing mechanisms, which we want to share our records to, except yourself and your manager. Okay. So in order to overcome some, so let me take a simple example of, let's say my manager has given me a task today, and in the morning, and I have almost completed 50% of it. And I have informed him like the other 50% will be completed by tomorrow. Okay. And suddenly I have got an emergency call. Okay. Medical emergency call from home, and I have to rush. Okay. So I have informed my manager, and then I wanted to leave. But the thing is, tomorrow we need to submit that project to the client. So we cannot say this reason to client, right? So in that case, what we can do is we can share our records to our colleagues so that they can. I have requested one of my colleague to carry forward the work which is pending tomorrow and then share it with the customer client. Okay. So yeah, he is a little free, and then manager also requested him. So he told, yes, I will do it. So now, how do I share my records to my colleague? So how do I do that using the sharing mechanism? So we have this sharing feature, and in that we have these three types of sharing mechanisms: manual sharing, automated sharing, and apex sharing. So manual sharing is nothing but it's just uh, what we call sharing the records manually. So this is possible when the when we need to share a limited number of records on and only to a limited number of people. So we can do a manual sharing. So in my case now, I would be sharing the records only to my colleague. That is one person and only a couple of records, not many. Okay. So in that case, I can go for manual sharing. So automated sharing, we can do the automated sharing using the sharing rules. So how and if we in case we need to do the sharing automatically and without any manual intervention, yeah, we can go ahead with automated sharing. And we have another concept of apex sharing. So we can even do the sharing which is possible through apex programming also. So manual sharing we will be doing with the help of sharing button. Okay. And automated sharing, we can write the sharing rules and then we do the automated sharing. Epic sharing, we write some triggers and then we can go ahead and do the sharing. So in this case, so while I'm sharing, so there is some options called level of access. So how much level of access I can give uh, for my colleague. Okay, so whether I have to give only read-only access or read-write access. So in this case, I have to give him read-write access. So which means that I'm giving the full access to him where he can edit and then uh, edit it and write it and then complete that particular work. So I need to give read-write access. So we can either give them the read-only access, anything in all these three mechanisms. We have this read only or read write. So by using the sharing button also we have read only or read write. By using sharing rules we have read only and read write. By using the Apex sharing also we have read only or read write. Okay. So these options are available like the level of access to whom we are going to give and whether we are going to give only read only or read write access. Okay. So yes. And there is one other criteria which we will have to keep in mind, whether it's a single user or multiple users also. Okay. So usually for manual sharing, we prefer when it is a single user, but when it is multiple users, we would look out for automated sharing. And we have few other concepts called public groups through which we can share the records. Okay, so we can create a public group. See, let's say our organization has like lakhs of employees. So let's say TCS, it's again 5 lakhs plus employees. Okay, so lakhs of employees. So in that, in my Salesforce org, there are like around 50 people are working, and in that particularly specifically into my uh, team, there are 10 people. So in that case, whenever I need to share the records to this 10 people, so I would go ahead and create a public group. Yes. And then I will be sharing my records into that public group. So when I share it to the public group, it will be visible to all the members present in that public group. Okay. So we can share it by if it is single user or multiple users. So based on that, we would be sharing our records to the users. Okay. And so based on that, we would be doing the sharing. So let's come to our OWDs again. So When we mark it as private, it will be visible only to the owner, but not anyone. Okay. So if a user creates a record inside the object, the Salesforce will make that record visible only to the record owner and his manager and none others. So others in the organization will not be able to see this record. So to make this record visible to others in the organization, so we are going for this sharing mechanisms. Okay. So we have these three types of sharing mechanisms: manual sharing, automated sharing, and apex sharing. Okay. So sharing feature, so we are going to achieve this sharing feature using these three mechanisms, that is manual, automated, and apex sharing. So let's go ahead and talk about manual sharing. Okay. So yeah. So by using this manual sharing approach, what we do is we can share our records to one or more users inside the organization with the help of sharing button, as I was showing you in the diagram. Okay. So while sharing the records, we can also give the level of access, whether it's read only, if it grants read only access permission to one to the user. If we give read write access, it grants read and edit permissions to the user, but they can't delete. And they can't even share also. Only thing is they can, when we give read write access, they can be able to read and edit it. Okay. So right? So this is our simple scenario where we have our account object and we have made the OWD as private. So if we make the OWD as private, it will be visible only to the record owner and his manager, none others. So if we need to do sharing to other people, then we have this three sharing mechanisms: manual sharing, automated sharing, and apex sharing. Okay. So for manual sharing, how we are going to share it using the sharing button. So I'll show you how is it, and automated using sharing rules, and apex sharing using the apex programming or apex triggers. And the level of access which we have is read and read write. So we have to decide if it is multiple users, we have whether we have to go ahead and create public groups or not. So we have to decide that. Okay, let's go to our org again. Okay, we will log in as development user. So for me to use the sharing mechanism, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a one account record, and I'm going to share it to one other user. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new account record. So I'm just selecting it as account name as sharing demo. Okay, so our new account record has been created, which is called sharing demo. Okay, so here, when you come to this record, we have an option called sharing, right? There is a button, okay? Sharing button. So you have to click on the sharing button, and then search for the user to whom you wanted to share. Here, if you see, we have three options: user, public group, role, and role subordinates. Okay, so here, since in my scenario, I am going to share my records only to one of my colleague. So I'm going to select user and I'm going to search him through the lookup. I'm going to search one person through the lookup. But in other case, as I was saying, my team, I have to share it to 10 members in my team. So what I will do is I'll be creating a public group, and here I will select share to the public group. So based on that, so who are the members added in the public group, those people will be able to view my records. Okay. And here, if you see role and role subordinates, so role, if we select, it's based on the role. So yesterday we were talking about like roles like uh, senior software engineer. So if we take again example of TCS, so there will be multiple senior software engineers within the across the organization. So if I share record through to using this role, so all the uh, users who are assigned with this particular role will be able to view my records. Okay, so that is all about the role and subordinates. So the role as well as the people below the role also will be able to view the records. So that's the meaning of role and subordinates. Okay, so we can select the options out here. So I'm selecting just user. I'm selecting testing user, let's say, but I will not be able to log into this account for now, but you can do it. Okay. So here, if you see again, uh, account access, whether I have to give read only or read write. Okay. So I'm giving read write access because I want to share my records to him. And here, if you see, uh, we are actually talking about account records only, but here it is asking about case and opportunities just because we have the account which is in relation with case and opportunities in a case lookup relationship. So what I want to do is I don't want to show my case records to him. So I'm keeping it private. I don't want to show my opportunity records to him. I'm keeping it as private. Okay. And then when you click on save, so now what happens is my sharing demo account record will be visible to a user called testing user who is available within our organization. Okay. And I'm sharing my record to him. Okay. Yeah. For us to have, so what I'm doing is I'm trying to share it to me as read only. Let's see if this demo works out. Okay. So I'm clicking on save and I have to now log out and log in as the system admin user. The manual sharing, I'm showing it in detail just because based on this, you will understand the other sharing mechanisms. Okay. Okay. Let's go to our application. Let's go to our account records and all accounts, sharing demo. Right. So since I have shared read only, but since this is like I am a manager user for this particular development user, so I'm getting even the edit access also because I am in the role hierarchy. Okay. So if we want to share to the peers, so we can share read only and we can see only the record. So we can't edit, we can't see this edit button here. Okay. So that's what I want to demo, but you can create more users as I was saying, project manager, team leader, team member, and you create uh, project manager one, team leader one, team member one, two, three. So you create 5 users like that, and project manager is on top in the role, and next team leader, and under team leader we have this team members one, two, and three. So and then you will have to check out this. First, you have to set up the OWD settings and make them as private. And then you try sharing, create your account records and try sharing it to your peers. So you will have to be on your team member account first and then create record and let's create record. So team member one, under that account, you create record. So go to team member two and see whether you are able to see team member one's records or not. Okay. So you need to do this by marking the OWD as private. Okay. So just do that. If you are not able, you should not be able to view your peers records. Okay. So then go ahead and do create one more record and use the same record which you created on team member one and go to the sharing button, share it to the user team member two. Okay, team member two user. Okay, then the team member login as team member two user and then see your records. You will be able to see the records of team member one, records created, account record created by team member one. Okay, so this is how the sharing mechanism works. Okay, so this is all on. So let's take some notes here. So, okay, right. So when the OWD has been marked as private, then if the user creates a record inside the object, the Salesforce will make the record to be visible only to the record owner and his manager. Okay. So by default, it's following the role hierarchy. Again, in the role hierarchy, it's only giving access to the immediate manager, not anyone else. Okay. So if you mark it as private, only you and your manager will be able to view your records. Other users will not be able to see your records. So to make the record visible to other users, we are going for sharing mechanism, and the sharing feature is used to share records to one or more users in the organization with the required level of access. So we have these three sharing mechanisms: manual sharing, automated sharing, and Apex sharing. So we are going to talk about manual sharing. So by using this approach, we can share the record to either one or more users inside the organization manually with the help of sharing button. Okay. So if you want to share it to two users, you can share it by selecting the users there one by one. Okay. In the checkbox. So while sharing the record, we can define the level of access, whether it's read only or read write. Read only it grants only read only permission on the record to the user, and read write it grants both read and edit permission on the record, but they can't delete or share the record to other users. We did sharing, but the user to whom we shared, he cannot share it. He cannot delete it. He cannot share it. He can only read and edit the record. Okay. So there is no point in me creating record and this guy goes where the person to whom I am shared, he goes and deletes that record. There is no point, right? So that's the reason this is mentioned. They cannot delete and they cannot share it to others. Okay. So cascaded permission is not possible. Okay. Right. So we have done a small demo of how so create an account record, log in with development user account, share it with the manager user with read-only permission. So as I was telling you, so create this record and then share it with your manager user. Okay. We'll do a small demo of creating the user now because I feel I wanted to show you just because I didn't create the users, I don't want it to be down. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new user. Again, this will be a hands-on for you for creating users, assigning roles, sharing settings, OWDs. So all this comes under this particular demo. Okay. So that's the reason I'm more stressing on doing this demo. So I'm creating a user and I want to, so development user is here. Okay. So he is the CFO. I want to create a, okay, I'll create two new users. Project manager user and email ID. You can use one email ID for creating multiple users, but make sure username is different. Okay. So this is projectmanager@gmail.com. Okay. And I'm not selecting anything from here. Oh, for platform permissions, licenses we don't have. Okay. So I have only charter free or those licenses. So what I'll do is, can we delete a user? Question. Anyone can answer.
No, we cannot
No,
delete a
we
user.
can't.
Right. Okay. So there are few other options which I'm not going to show you now. We can deactivate a
Deactivate.
user, we can freeze a user. Okay. So we cannot remove a user completely, but we can be what so what is the scenario is like a person going on a maternity leave for 6 months or something. So in that case, we are going to make use of an option called
Freeze.
freeze. Yeah. And if we want to completely we are not going to use that particular user, we can go ahead and deactivate that user. So when we are deactivating the user, the license, if the license gets claimed back, okay, so the license assigned to him will be available for us to assign it to other users. But in case of freeze, the license will not be available. The license is still there assigned to that particular user only. Okay, so if we deactivate, the license is going to be claimed back and we can make use of that license again. Okay, so I am not going to show that demo for you now. Probably I can show it in next class if possible. I'll try adding users, but I would suggest you to create roles project manager, team leader, so team member 1, 2, and 3, and these are going to be peers. Okay. So usually under the role hierarchy, or if we set OWD as private, so whatever team member 1 or 2 or 3 creates, it will be visible to team leader. Okay, by default. If even though if we mark it as private. Okay, and whatever records created by team member 1 will never be visible to team member 2. It will only be visible to team leader. Whatever 2 creates, it's not visible to 1 or 3. Whatever the 3 creates, it's not visible to 1 or 2. Okay. So what we will be doing is you just create a record on team member 1, log in as team member 2, and see whether you are able to see that record. So that's one scenario. You will not be able to see. But before you are making the OWD settings for account object as private. Okay. So we are creating account here. Okay. So it will not be visible. If your account OWD is set as public read write, all the account records, all the records created by 1 can be viewed by 2 and 3. All the 2 created by 2 will be viewed by 1, 3. Okay. So you will have to first set OWD as private and then try this mechanism. Then you can then create an account record on your team member 2 and then share it to 1 and then see whether 1 is able to view it or not. Okay. So sharing, as I told you, it's very simple. You just have to create the records and go to create account record or go to the existing account record, and then you have this sharing button available for you. So you can go ahead and share that account. Okay. See, this is the sharing button. So manual sharing is like we do this way. It's just easy. So if we need to share it uh, manually for some time, we can do it, and we can select either a user or public group or role subordinates. So we can select based on that. Public groups, we will talk about this in the next classes. So how to create a public group and all. Okay, so we can select that and we can give the level of access also, read, write, read only, or how we are going to do. Okay, so this is how we do manual sharing. So whenever, so there is a scenario like this. If, so I have shared a couple of records. Let's say I have shared my account record last week to 2 people, and this week I shared it one with one other person. So I'm not sure like with how many I have shared. So you can go to that candidate account record and click how to see with whom you shared. You can go and click on sharing, and here it will be showing you like with whom you shared and also the details of the sharing. Okay, so here it will show. So you can go ahead and check like with whom I have shared this record at any time. Okay, so that you can. Right. So this is all about manual sharing. So we will discuss more about other public groups and all, which are again concepts under this particular uh, scenario only. Okay. So today we just did only the manual sharing part using the sharing button, and we can try both read and read write access to a single user. You can go for single user means you can go for multiple users also if it is like very few. Okay, so we can give multiple users also there, share with the user and then click on more users. Okay, if it is multiple users, probably we creating a public group is the better option. Yes. So this is all about today's class. So we did we did the OWD as private, and then we did a demo on the manual sharing. So yeah, I'll share these assignments to you. Probably try that. But yes, if you face any kind of problem, yes, reach out to me. I will be uh, helping you fixing those. Okay. So yes, it's not that tough. Uh, it's easy sharing mechanism using the sharing button. So it's a manual sharing. So go ahead and do that demo. Do that practice on your um, free developer org. Okay, so while creating the users, be careful because the license will go. So if in case you need to reclaim the licenses, you can do a deactivation, which I don't want to do. That's the reason I am not creating it now. Okay, right. So that is all for today's class. Yeah, this one I will share it in the WhatsApp so that you can create your uh, users and then do a manual sharing practice. Okay. Yeah, that is all for today. Thank you so much. Have a good day.